Oh, what a lad. Now, since the name of the podcast is called What a Lad, I'm often asked, why have I just had rugby lads on? Well, not anymore. I'm branching out and I've gone straight to the top with one of New Zealand's best lads. He's arguably New Zealand's top comedian and he's done it all. He's won the Billy T Award for comedy. He's been the face of TV in New Zealand and the voice of radio in New Zealand. He's also been voted the sexiest man in New Zealand in 2014. He's also had his own song make the charts, reaching number 2 in New Zealand. And of course, he now has his very own TV show, New Zealand Today, which is one of the great laughs. It is, of course, Nelson's finest, Guy Williams.
So good to be here, bro. So good to be here. And there were so many things about that intro that was so wrong. I'm so excited. You said one of New Zealand's top, or arguably New Zealand's top comedian. You can't argue that at all. You'd go, okay, well, if you don't count the ones who have passed away, Billy T, R.I.P., John Clark, then you go Fly the Conchords, Rose Matafeo, Ursula Carlson, Di Henwood. The list is so long. I'm like 45 down. Jimmy Jackson on Facebook. I'm so far down.
Mate, it's someone's opinion. I had it a lot. Lots of people said you're the best comedian in New Zealand.
Yeah, so. And a lot of people say I'm the worst as well. That'd be great if you introduced me. He's arguably the worst comedian in New Zealand. It's Guy. But I'm so stoked to be here, man.
Mate, stoked to have you on. It's great to have someone a little bit different. I mean, a comedian, someone who's funny, I guess.
Yeah, no offense, but have you not had a woman on this podcast?
It is called What a Lad.
You've done 100 episodes. You can interview one woman. A woman can be a lad, can't they? What is this? What is this, like, future dystopia where women don't exist in this world?
No, it is in the pipeline, to be fair.
You have stitched yourself up with the title "What a Lad," but yeah, I'm sure it'll be fine.
Yeah, we'll get there, I'm sure, and it's going to probably absolutely blow up, isn't it? When the first woman does come on What a Lad, it's going to be.
Well, no, based on this like weird like incel following you've probably got. Now, sorry to the followers, you're the best. It'll probably be your worst ever rating one because we're inherently sexist in society. But times are changing slowly and we're moving forward, hopefully to a brighter tomorrow. Or based on the way America's going, we're heading backwards at a rate of knots.
We will see. But anyway, mate, you heard the jingle. What do you think of the jingle?
That was so good. Did you sing that? Who sang that?
No, that was actually Alex Harmer.
Yeah.
I put it onto the Instagram and someone decided to make that.
That's so good. I mean, whoever owns the rights to that music will sue your ass as soon as you get big enough. But until then, rock that song. Rock that song. Good on you, man.
Mate, it's good to get an opinion, obviously, from someone who's been right up there on the New Zealand chart.
I'm one of the best comedians in New Zealand, according to this podcast.
And musicians. I mean, the Pigeon Song.
My brother's talented. And most of my accomplishments were just like wacky things we did on radio. So the way you said I was Sexiest Man and people would listen to that and go, how is that a thing? I wasn't really Sexiest Man. I was more best at voting for himself thousands of times on the internet. The TV Guide, it was like a popularity contest and I got all the listeners to the radio station to vote for me. That's how I did that. I basically rigged it. I beat TJ from Shorten Street, one of the sexiest dudes of all time. Also a bit of a douche, but sexy dude. So I was stoked to beat him. Yeah.
And you obviously beat Sonny Bill as well. Is that sort of how the beef started?
I love Sonny Bill. People always hit me up. There's a few things people always talk to me about. My interview with the Mongrel Mob and Sonny Bill is the one that people always talk about. And can I say for the record, I love Sonny Bill and think he genuinely is the best.
Yeah.
There's so many things that are good about Sonny Bill. And the way I met him was because he was literally the best dude. I would go to the All Blacks. John and Ben, I was on a show called John and Ben. They would send me to All Blacks press conferences. We weren't allowed to be there. I'd have no credentials. I'd get in trouble with the bosses every time. And there's a few people who are really nice to me. One was Izzy Dag. He was the best guy. He was just like so supportive and like would come and, give me a few answers. And the other was Sonny Bill. And Sonny Bill took it to another level. Not only would he answer my questions, he would give me like gold. And I was interviewing James McConey, I remember from Crowd Goes Wild, behind the scenes. And out of nowhere, Sonny Bill came and just put me in a headlock, And instantly that like made my segment because it was like, Sonny Bill, who was like the god of New Zealand at the time, was like playing along and like having a laugh. And I was so appreciative of that. And he literally made my career. My career only like took off from there. And then, I mocked him a few times, went too far. I peeved him off. And I don't think he was too peeved. He just like blocked me on Twitter because he was sick of me, sick of hearing about me basically.
Yeah.
And then I said some things that I maybe shouldn't have. He maybe was a bit too, he'd probably admit he was a bit too sensitive too.
Yeah.
And from there it just went bad. And I feel bad because people think that like I hate on Sonny Bill, because a lot of people do hate on him. I'd love to get into that, but I don't hate Sonny Bill at all. I genuinely love the guy and owe him a lot because he helped make my career, man. What a lovely, lovely dude. And I stalked him to Japan twice. The first time he was stoked to see me. The second time he was just like, bro, why are you here? Why are you, get a life? Like, is there nothing else going in your career? And the answer, Sonny, it was no, there is nothing else going on in my career. But he was cordial. He was great both times. It was one of the best things I've ever done. Plus, I got to go to Japan. Yeah. Amazing. And I'd love to ask you about Japan. But I'd love to say this about Sonny as well. Like, what he's done for like the Muslim community in New Zealand is genuinely amazing. People don't know about that, but like I have friends who are Muslim in Auckland, and they like Sonny Bill is their mate kind of thing. And it is a big deal when you consider how much like Islamophobia is in New Zealand and how much we don't understand that religion. I remember he became a professional rugby player. We switched from league. People were already hating him on there, but then his religion became like a big thing because they're like, because of fasting and stuff like that. Yeah. And instead of like talking to Muslim people and trying to learn about the religion, people just speculated that he wouldn't be able to do it, and he proved everyone wrong. Like he's been a great contributor to New Zealand rugby. I think he won 2 World Cups, right?
Yeah.
Did a few yellow cards along the way, but like he's been a hell of a contributor and kind of like proved all the critics wrong every step along the way. And a lot of the hatred towards him, I think, is based on his religion and his, being a strong Pacific Islander. I genuinely believe that. I go so serious in the podcast so soon.
That's good.
But even my own parents, I love my parents, but they hate on Sonny Bill for no reason whatsoever. And I remember my mum. This is horrific, but like weird. My mum was like, Sonny Bill, he's never smiling or something like that. Like kind of. I don't know, kind of weirdly having a go at Islam. And she's like, look at this. And she showed me a photo on the paper. And it was literally Sonny Bill at the memorial service for Christchurch. Mum's like, he's not smiling. Of course he's not smiling. Like, what? How is that? And it's just like, we just pick any reason to pick apart, especially our top athletes and especially Sonny Bill. And I always think, like, what really is the reason why you're hating on him? Because it can't be because of his record, because he's been a great rugby league player, a great rugby player, and shit, he saved my career. So yeah. I owe a lot to Sonny Bill. Sorry to go on a rant, but I love that guy.
That was a good rant. But you did speak about the segment where you did go over to Japan and see him. How staged was that? Because, man, that looked extremely awkward.
Oh, so awkward. No, not staged at all. Rugby press conferences are really tense.
Yeah.
And I don't know why it is. Maybe you can shed some light on that. I don't know why it is, but do you remember, I remember the 2011 Rugby World Cup, and New Zealand's was so clenched and so tense because we hadn't won since 87. And I remember there was one press conference where Ali Williams and Sonny Bill were joking. Was it Ali Williams and Sonny Bill? Were joking around before like a semi-final or something like that in the press conference. And literally a journalist told them off like he was their son or something. It was the weirdest thing. I remember it was Jim Kay's, and they're like, why are you laughing before a semi-final? It's because we're professional athletes and we're human and we're trying to lighten up. Like it's rugby at the end of the day. And I'm so glad that those guys did it, and they did it with a smile on their face, and you can enjoy life and be good at rugby. Like, both those things exist. Yeah. Do you remember that?
Or you asked why they do that. That is exactly why they would be so serious and why it would be so intense in there, because you've got journalists like that calling people out, or they can take clips from any segment and make you look like you're not taking it seriously.
Yeah, and that becomes a story, right? Like Sonny Bill's not ready for the big game kind of thing. And that was so interesting to me because I would try, when the players weren't available, I would try and interview the other journalists, and they were all such interesting people. Like, there's a lot of good rugby journalists in New Zealand, a lot of people I really respect, but some of them were just absolute weirdos, eh? And they took it, like, rugby for them was like life or death. And I understand that it's a religion in this country, but like a week out for the game, you're allowed to have a few casual jokes, especially if it helps your performance on the field, you know?
Yeah.
Do you know, so that's your explanation. Well, that's why it's so tense. It's because the media will literally clip you out of context.
I'd imagine so, yeah, because I know a lot of guys, when they go to the media, they don't want to give them anything just in case it gets taken out of context. So that's why I'm hoping, like, things like podcasts and stuff are starting to grow, because guys trust the guy who's on the other end of the podcast, and we can have a bit
loosen
more
up a little bit. Yeah,
bit more
it's
of a
sad.
real chat, yeah.
And that's what I liked about Sonny Bill is he was, when I first met him especially, he was just loose as a goose. You know, he'd been over Australia where things are a bit more fun, and he just like brought a bit of fun to the game. I always found him one of the funniest players and one of the smartest players as well.
Yeah, but you guys get along well now? Or?
Yeah, good question. I always want to tell him I love him, but I think he got sick of my shit. Like, I did like 5 segments where I would show up out of the blue, and I think eventually it was like, all right, mate, the joke's played out. But I was like, not for me, mate. I'll milk this for all it's worth. And bro, those trips were so good because literally, I think Air New Zealand might have helped pay for the flights or whatever it was, but Jono and Ben, the show paid for me to go to the second time. They paid for me to go to Japan, so it was like 4 days in Japan. We got Sonny on the first day because they split the All Blacks up, and half the All Blacks went to England early, and while the B team, or no, not the B team, but the rest of the players stayed and played Japan.
Yeah, and
so I had to get Sonny Bill, so I got up at like 3 o'clock in the morning, stalked out his hotel until I got him, and then I had like 3 days in Japan. We went to Disneyland, we went to Shinjuku, we tried to get into a They have these amazing clubs in Japan where you've been to Japan, right?
Yeah.
They have these clubs where it's not like there's nothing sexual about it. Maybe there is, I don't know. But it's like you just go there and just have a date with a beautiful person. So men go there and they have like a woman who will just like laugh at your jokes and stuff.
Yeah.
But women have that too. And we saw this club and it was like pictures of, we couldn't really tell what was going on with their, we didn't want to. There's just men who were very effeminate looking with beautiful makeup and stuff on the wall. And we're like, we've got it, whatever this club is, I want to see what's going on here. And we walked in and there was a man there in like a tuxedo, very well dressed. And he was like, get out. He couldn't speak English and we couldn't speak Japanese. He's like, you got to leave now. Yeah. And I think it's probably because they get like either drunken tourists coming in for a laugh or gay people. And it's maybe homophobic. I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah.
But it was literally men, like boyfriends, and a woman after work, you go in and you just hang out with this nice guy who's nice to you, and you pay money, and there's nothing, you don't kiss or touch or anything like that. And I found that so interesting.
Yeah.
But kind of cool as well. I don't know what. But there was Japan, awesome place. You lived
there for 2 6-month periods, and I never got to one of those places, but I had heard about them, and I know some of the guys in my team used to go to them as well. I think it was just a chance for them to have a normal chat with someone who they didn't really know. So I find it pretty weird.
And I know a Kiwi chick, makeup artist up in Auckland who worked in one, and she was like, celebrities would come in. Like I had Mick Jagger, Britney Spears came in.
Really?
Like, it was like quite amazing. Scary because she said the one she worked at was like run by like the mob.
Oh, true.
But it was like quite amazing because she's white with blonde hair. Like apparently that was like a rare, obviously because Japanese people with dark hair, it was like a rarity.
Yeah.
So she was like, the whole thing sounds mind blowing to me and scary, but pretty special. And then after that, all the clubs, strip clubs, everything. We couldn't get into the strip club. I tried to get into. I shouldn't admit that out loud. We had nothing to do in Japan. We got Sonny Bill, but we just wanted to go. They didn't let us in anywhere.
Karaoke, surely.
I don't even know, like, because like in Shinjuku, like it's like if you don't speak the language, you're not allowed in, kind of thing. I could be wrong. They just saw my goofy head coming and like get the hell out. We weren't allowed anywhere. We tried to get into the women's club. We tried to get into the men's club. No club would let us in. And then the trains finish at midnight, so every club and bar closes at midnight. That's what I heard.
Yeah.
But then the batting cage is open all night. So we went for a bat, and that's so cool. It's like an American movie I really enjoyed that. And apparently businessmen do that. If you've like stuffed up your night, you live out in the suburbs, you don't want to go home, so you just go do batting cage from like midnight to like 6 a.m. and then go to work again. It's Japanese ingenuity, man. It's genius. It's so good.
Oh, that's living.
Yeah. What was did you enjoy Japan, or were you like all business and stuff?
Nah, we loved it because it wasn't so much business. The rugby pressure was off. The training hours were very limited, and had heaps of family time, heaps of chance to go and explore Japan and see what it was. And the family all loved it, so they missed it a little bit. But you do get annoyed with some parts of the Japanese culture. But
here we go. Let's kick that off. Is this going to take a weird racist twist? What's going on? What's annoying about this?
It's things like just things that we're used to here in terms of small things like cash. Everything's paper written, so you can't. Everything just seems to take forever. So like, if you need to get something, you've got to go through about 10 different people.
Yeah, the
all
bureaucracy,
write down
yeah.
a massive list of things, and then you've got to have all your paperwork sorted, which when you're used to it here, you just got your sort of ID and
Yeah.
maybe a card, and you hand it over, and everything gets done. Where
That's a thing we take for granted in New Zealand, how lax everything is. Even when you go to the States as well, it's like they have so many, you go to a sports game, you got to go through a metal detector.
Yeah.
I think just a bigger population means you got to be stricter, but yeah, Japanese bureaucracy. The irony of that is Japan's like famous for the opposite, right? They're famous for vending machines and bullet trains.
Yeah.
So that's really interesting that I've never lived there. Like, as a tourist, it's very easy, but as a local, what sort of stuff are we trying to get that required paper?
like
Just a
anything,
driver's license?
like a license, like even you've got to register your car. Or every car on the road has to have its own car park, and it has to have proof by the police and things like that. Even trying to get internet or TV, you've got to go through so many paper trails.
Do you know what's so interesting though? Is like, I was just thinking of the cliche thing about Japan. People always talk about the vending machines, but I don't know if there actually is. People always joke about there being a used panty vending machine or something like that. I don't know if that's. Maybe it is. Maybe it is. I mean, yeah. Who knows? But the thing that interests me is that I distinctly remember. I'm pretty sure cigarettes and beer from vending machines.
Yeah.
And I was so interested in. Is that true? Is that
okay? You can get beer. I'm not sure about cigarettes anymore, but maybe.
Okay, so my point being is that like everywhere in the world you go seems to have, except for maybe America, seems to have a more mature response to drinking than New Zealand. It's like in New Zealand we've literally, I remember the Wellington Sevens, they like closed it down because New Zealand like couldn't just like, just slow it down a little bit, and it's like so interesting. And in Japan they're literally selling alcohol out of vending machines. Like if we did that in New Zealand, people would die, it's every country in the world, and you go to like Italy and stuff, and kids are just drinking wine in the street, and you're like, that kid's not 18 or whatever, but they seem to be handling it better than we are. It's like I don't know what's wrong with us. We're a bit off the rocker a little bit, I think. Yeah,
and you don't drink either, do you? So
Nah.
that's an interesting one to chat about.
Yeah. So what am I doing at the batting cage at 2 a.m? Just having you can have a good time without alcohol, guys. Yeah, or drugs. Yeah. Sorry, you're gonna ask something?
Yeah. So like. The reasoning for you to not drink, and I mean, you've already got the confidence of someone who's pretty much hammered already. But how have you? What's the reasoning behind you not drinking? I guess.
Oh, it's a bit of a long story, but alcohol issues run in my family, so I saw at quite a young age. Not my parents, but grandparents and stuff battle with addiction and how that can change people and how that can affect people.
Yeah,
and also So my mum basically just scared me out of it when I was at high school and stuff like that. So I didn't drink. Yeah. And then through that time when you don't drink, you see all the negative repercussions, and so that kind of reinforces your stereotype. I saw kids do crazy stuff at high school. I saw things at I used to come back from basketball practice at 9 p.m. To the uni hostel, and there'd just be a whole bunch of people in their rooms crying because their boyfriend had cheated on them, or someone had punched them in town. It was just kind of I saw the bad aftermath that you see when you're sober, and that really kind of shook me a little bit. It was just kind of eye opening, and so from there, comedy is riddled with alcohol and drug problems. Obviously, almost every famous comedian, besides now getting. Being a weird creep, but also so many famous comedians have so struggled with drugs and alcohol. It's it's a big problem. So it became a no-brainer.
Have you ever had pressure to feel like you need to take it? Or?
Massively, yeah, bro. All the way through uni and stuff like that. And I used to it was easy. I just used to have one beer the whole night, not even finish the neck of it, just occasionally take a sip, and just if you had a beer in your hand, it solved the problem. Occasionally I'd just have a can of baked beans. No one even noticed. As long as the only time people comment on it is if your hands are empty, then people are like, what's going on here? But if you've just got something in your hand, people just won't question you. It could be just a glass of water. It's sweet. Yeah,
a can of baked beans, surely not.
And also, if your friends are gonna be assholes about it, if friends are gonna be assholes about it, they're probably not that good friends. People do worry if you're not drinking and they are drinking. They get, they think you're judging them, which you're not doing. Oh, okay. If they're vomiting out in the bushes, then you are judging them a little bit. But generally you're not judging them, and you normally lose those people who are assholes when they're drunk are normally not great people when they're sober anyway. So you kind of normally drift away from those people anyway.
Yeah. So a lot of people drink to get a bit of self-confidence, I guess, and to be able to feel a little bit more comfortable. But you've got this gift to be extremely confident and comfortable in any situation.
Yeah. It's delusional self-confidence, really. I think a few things helped. One was just realizing quite early on that everyone struggles with that. Like everyone feels awkward. You think the biggest, toughest captain of the first 15, he's got anxiety issues. That's why everyone is like knocking them back to try and chill out a little bit or get more confidence on the dance floor. And once you realize that, you're like, shit, it's all just a weird bravado thing anyway. And you can just kind of fake it till you make it. And I'm not always super confident or anything like that. But one thing that really helped was stand up. Because like once you've realized your worst fear, which is talking to 100 people in a bar, getting no laughs, getting like a slow clap, like get off the stage. Once you've experienced that, you're like, shit, it's not that bad. I can handle that. I can bomb any night of the week. Like it's like you realize like, it's fine. And then I just kind of like was like, you may as well just try and enjoy yourself a little bit. And I still get really self-conscious. What's funny is that when people go, oh man, you must be so drunk or stoned when you do what you do. And I'm going to be like, yeah, man, I was wasted. No, I don't smoke weed either. I don't do anything. And it's so embarrassing to be like, you think that I'm drunk, but really that's just me, man. Yeah.
And you mentioned your stand-up comedy. How did you get to the step where you get to that point? You said that's like the loss of loss, being up on the stage and not getting any laughs. But how do you even get to that stage? Obviously, that's would be an incredible fear for anyone to attempt to do that.
Yeah, when you start, it's just hard, and you learn what not to do quite early on. Stand-up comedy is so good because it's like trial and error. I was like, it's so interesting. Just looking at professional athletes, it must be such an interesting job being a rugby player because you can't make mistakes. Really, like I don't know. You look at like guys, you're like 21 years old and you're playing Super Rugby or whatever. You must think like, man, if I throw a few bad passes here, my life's over. There's quite amazing pressure on these. Am I right? Am I wrong?
I sort of feel like that you've got another 14 guys around you when you're out there. So if you do make a couple of mistakes, then the team can sort of look after you. Where I look at a comedian and you're up there by yourself, you've got no one else to help you or.
Nah, the stakes are so low though. Like if you bomb, like, cause like when I was bombing and stuff like that hard, like you're starting out, you're not getting paid, so you don't really care. Like you're not letting anyone down really. And the time I bombed real bad, I was opening for Ray Bon Khan, so I let him down. But he was only paying me $35 or something. So I mean, I earned my $35 just for doing my time. But it's just the stakes are so low, and comedy is about mistakes. Like literally, my ratio to good jokes and bad jokes is probably about 5 bad ones to 1 good one, maybe even higher than that. And that's just like comedy is all about learning from your mistakes. There's really no rules. There's no academy. You can't practice in front of your mirror. You've just got to go up there and just see if it works or not. And so that makes it like really comforting. And you just go kind of new joke, old joke, new joke, old joke. And then when you're doing a big show, you have a lot of old jokes that you can fall back on if the new jokes aren't working. So there is a big safety net there. Okay. So in rugby, sorry to go back to rugby. I do have some really good rugby stories, by the way. I should tease that. Do you want to hear my rugby story? It's vaguely rugby related. You're not keen.
No, I'm keen as. I'm very keen.
Jeff Wilson is a lovely guy. I've met him multiple times. He is the best guy, but he's also very competitive. And I think he won't mind me telling the story anyway. It doesn't make him look that bad. But I play basketball, grew up playing basketball, and started a team with my brother a few years ago, just playing fairly socially. Well, we say social. There's no men in their 30s playing sport, man. They take it too seriously. You ever play just corporate touch or something? And people go so hard and it's life or death. If you're an accountant, like your last chance is to score a try playing social touch. But it was Auckland North Shore, which is like the best competition in Auckland, B grade. So I thought it was pretty casual level. But my team would have players getting thrown out of the game people got too serious about it. And the ref was always like a 14-year-old kid. It was embarrassing. We're fully grown men and oh God, it's so sad the way some people still holding on to those NBA dreams, eh? You're lucky you got to experience that, man. You're lucky you got to go as high as you could go, right? So you're not going to be what if kind of thing. Because so many Kiwi males finish at high school and go oh, that could have been me out there. And so anyway, so we're there living our NBA wannabe ambitions, and we come up against former All Black legend, one of the greatest New Zealand sports people ever, Jeff Wilson, and one of my personal heroes. That was my childhood right there. Goldie, he's such a legend. Played cricket as well. And the rumor is that he was also awesome at basketball. Like, you know, the rumor was that he scored a 100-point game or something. I can't remember. But the story at high school, he was the man, right? Yeah. At 3 sports, basketball, cricket, and rugby. And always the joke was that, like rugby was he was the best at it, but it was his least favorite, like, apparently. I wanted to dispel the rumor now that he's not that good at basketball. Like, I know that's, like, people talk about him like he could have been, like, he's okay. He's pretty good. Hey, and if he'd quit his other 2 sports that he was amazing at, he probably could have been, like, awesome at basketball because he's an athlete. He could do anything. Yeah. But he's short, obviously, rugby build, so he's quite stocky. He's not really a basketballer's build. And he's okay, but you can tell that he's someone who stopped basketball quite young and stuff like that. But still very competitive. And the first game was kind of niggly, right? Like, my brother plays point guard. My brother, lovely guy, but he can get too serious sometimes. And him and Jeff Wilson were kind of flopping for fouls and pushing each other over. It was getting a little bit titchy. And his team, and I think they'll be okay with me saying this, were the biggest a-holes I've ever played against. Jeff Wilson, the guy pushing my brother over, was the nice guy. The rest of them were dirty old tall black New Zealand players. Okay, the New Zealand rugby team, for people who don't know, is called the Tall Blacks. I'm not calling them tall black men. None of them were very tall. None of them were black. They were white guys, but they played for New Zealand back in the day. And they're elbowing me. They're just so dirty, grabbing me, pulling me. Like, it was just, the whole thing was just they're the worst team to play against. Yeah. And the only saving grace was you get to meet Jeff Wilson. So the second time we play him, I'm like, that's Jeff Wilson. These guys are a-holes. Let's have a bit of banter, mate. Yeah. And he's quite physical, so I would just, like, kind of riff with him a little bit, what I thought was riffing. And I'd be like, it's not the Bledisloe Cup, mate. Oh, chill out. We're not playing rugby anymore, mate. This is like 96 all over again. I don't even know what 96 was. I was just throwing a random year out there, stuff like that. But for whatever reason, it's his sporting, like, focus. He just did not take any of it lightly, eh? And I just remember saying, chill out, Jeff. It's not the Bledisloe, mate. And he was just like, he just looked at me stone cold in the face and just goes, I never thought you were funny. So cold, like, Jeff, chill out, man. It's B grade North Shore Wednesday night basketball. So it's quite tense then. I felt bad. I almost wanted to apologise because I kind of realised afterwards that he has some bad memories from the Bledisloe. Pardon?
George Gregan
hit the ball out of his hand and stuff like that. And I wasn't referencing, was that 96?
Maybe.
I don't know. But anyway, whatever it was, I was not referencing that. I was just trying to, I don't know that much about rugby. I was just trying to throw out a rugby reference, right? So then there's just this weird, the game was already tense because it was so rough. But it made it tenser. My banter, this is comedy, it goes bad. My banter backfired, right? Yeah. And then it felt like I was being an asshole to Jeff and he was being an asshole to me, and it just wasn't very nice. Yeah. This is where it gets weird. The game is really close. We're about 20 years younger than them, but they're just battling for everything. They yell for a foul every time. They're so old, they kind of intimidate the referees, get some cheap free throws and stuff like that. Yeah. Somehow we're still battling with these guys. Game tied. It sounds like I'm making this up. I swear there's video evidence of this. There's game tied. There's 4 seconds left. We have the ball. We're inbounding the ball from the side, attacking our hoop. So it's in our half, right? The score is tied. We draw up a play. We call a timeout, draw up a play.
This is intense.
That's always a mistake, right? Drawing up a play if you've got a coach and you're a trained team, that makes sense. You've got a play that you're used to running. Not when you're just standing around and everyone goes, oh yeah, I'll screen there, and everyone just has a hoon, right? So the players that I'm going to screen for our best player who's going to run off and shoot a 3 to win the game. Yeah. And if that fails, if that gets denied, then we're going to hit me rolling to the hoop and I'm going to catch it and do a layup, right? Yeah. What happens is I go to set a screen and this tall black guy, again, he's a white guy who's the team's called the Tall Blacks. He just bullies me. I should have known this was going to happen. He just pushes me off the spot and then he just grabs me, like just bear hugs me, right? Yeah. Their guy our best shooter gets defended off my screen or whatever the hell I'm doing. I'm not really doing anything at this point because I've been pushed off my mark. He runs out, he's guarded because I got pushed off my mark. And then the guy just grabs me, like literally just hugs me so I can't run and get the ball. My brother, you got 5 seconds to inbound, lobs the ball to where I should be, but I can't move because he's literally holding me with his arm like rugby. Right? It shouldn't be allowed, right? The ball bounces into play. Another one of their players grabs the ball, throws it, American football style, the length of the floor. So this is 3/4 court throw, goes the length of the court, in swish, they win the game. Jeff Wilson is just like, yes! And I'm so excited, I'm just like, yes! And I go and hug Jeff Wilson. I'm like, Goldie, we did it, bro. I'm not on the team. My brother's pissed off at me. He's like, what? They're not on your team. Stop doing that. Don't be a dick. And that was the greatest moment in my sporting career. It sounds unbelievable. There's video footage of that shot going in. I've never seen a shot like that in my basketball career go 3/4 court, even without pressure, let alone to win the game. Amazing.
Social basketball at its absolute best.
yeah. So bad.
Mate, that is good. Mate, is that an insult that people give to you all the time? Is that I've never found you funny or you're not funny? Is that like everyone's go-to?
Yeah. And it's a hard one to come back from as well because you're just going to be like, comedy is subjective and everyone has an opinion. But I understand it as well because some people are I mean, the reason Jeff Wilson might not have found me funny, that's totally fine. It's his opinion. Yeah. But he said it because I was bantering with him and he was like, all right, well, you're going to give it to me, I'm going to give it to you kind of thing. Yeah. So I kind of was asking for it a little bit there, talk shit, get hit, you know? Yeah. But people just will come up to when people are mean about it, less so now, like New Zealand Today is so well received. A lot of stuff I did on Jono and Ben people didn't like, but New Zealand Today is quite liked. Yeah. I'm so lucky, thank God. I've done one good thing in my life besides hug Jeff Wilson after I lost the game of basketball. So So when people say it, there's no real comeback. You just got to be like, comedy is subjective and everyone has an opinion. And yeah, it's one of those things where I understand it because there's comedians I hate and can't understand why people like them. Yeah. And you realize it's like music, even more extreme. Like people hear a certain type of music and they just don't understand, country music or whatever. It's like everyone has people they like and they don't like. And some of the most popular comedians in the world are people I just don't understand why people like them at all. Yeah, it's really interesting.
That is interesting. And you talk, and I mean, something that's growing a lot in rugby at the moment is like social media abuse and like people sliding into the DMs just abusing players. So I'd imagine a comedian gets that times 10. So how have you dealt with that in your...
I just started ignoring it and I think that's the only way to do it. It's so tough on rugby. Again, it's like that thing of like, for how serious journalists take it and how they think it's life or death. A lot of the fans are like that too, unfortunately, because we put so much investment in them. Like we are living vicariously through athletes, right? Yeah. Like when Bowden Barrett kicks it, it's me going, well, how did you miss that? And he's got to look back and go, it's hard, man. It's not easy. I'm trying my best. And I just took because when I started in comedy, I used to literally, this is so sad, I would literally go on Twitter, type my name in and see what people are writing. Yeah. And, there's a reason why they haven't added me. It's because they want to go, Guy Williams is not funny, get him off the show, Yeah. And so it's like, why was I subjecting myself to that abuse? And I quickly realized it was like, if you just don't read it to an extent, and every time I go on, because most social media is largely pretty... No, I'd say actually largely it's pretty good, but like if you plumb into the depths, you will find some stuff just like... right now with all the disinformation around, basic, science around vaccines and stuff like that. Yeah. I did a post asking for season, because it's been locked down and stuff like that. People are like, don't have much to do. So in lockdown, I was like, hey, I need ideas for season 3 of New Zealand Today. And most people were like, great, and having good ideas. Yeah. And a few people got in there. It's because like, the communist government is here to shut down control our people and put us into camps. I don't know what the hell was going on there, but like, Pete, like you're just like, who are you? And I almost feel sorry for those people now and like where they're going. Like, what sort of life are you living if you see the All Blacks lose a rugby game or see the Hurricanes lose a rugby game and log on there and decide you're going to abuse the people you're a fan of, like it's kind of like it almost just reflects so badly on them. I end up feeling angry about them and then sorry for them, you know? Yeah. And it's such a big thing now. And what's worse is that women get it so much worse, and people of color, if you're brown, you're going to get so much worse as well. It's like It's sad to see, and I really feel for athletes because it's ruined some people's careers, I reckon.
Yeah, it definitely has. And you talked about some of those people who have some crazy beliefs, and now I guess the cool thing about your show, New Zealand Today, is you get to go meet these people, talk to them, and get to know them a little bit.
Yeah, and I must say I'm like walking a fine line there, because I think that's the good thing about New Zealand Today. I think should be that like, you realize that most people out there are good people. Yeah. There's some people who are just like wrong. Yeah. And there's some people who, whether they be on drugs or alcohol or off the drugs they should be on, have got like a screw loose. But most people, even people, I've met flat earthers or people who I'm like, what is wrong with you? Yeah. You talk to them for a few hours and you're like, actually, you're all right. Yeah. You've just gone down a few too many YouTube rabbit holes and ended up in a weird place where they think They think the world is flat. It's surrounded by an Antarctic ice wall that's guarded by NASA. That's what they think. Because when people go, the world is flat, they go, how come you can't just sail a boat off the end of it? And they're like, because there's guards there guarding it. And you're like, oh man, this is so. And it's the same. It's the same with. It doesn't take long till you start getting there on matters of science and stuff like that, and you realize that kind of the saddest thing when I talk to the flat earther. And this is the person who believes everything. Like her theory, she'll see a school shooting in the US and believe it was perpetrated by the government to crack down on guns. Like, it's just like absolutely outrageous the things they think. And don't get me wrong, there are legitimate conspiracies out there. There are things out there where we need more information as to how things like how climate change has been covered up by oil companies. There's definitely things out there that need to be investigated. Yeah, I mean, people start on their rabbit hole down the JFK curve. It is weird. Probably not time to talk about it right now. But she said a thing that was like so heartbreaking to me. And I was like, I don't believe you. Like, why would I believe you? Like, when all the scientists are saying the Earth is a globe. And she was like almost crying, and she was like, why won't you believe me? I just want to be believed. And I was like, oh, that just broke my heart. That all she wanted to do was, if you are in a conspiracy theory group or whatever, you feel smart. You're all of a sudden like a leader. You're like, no, all the world's leading scientists and universities are idiots. I know what's best. Yeah. And do you know what I think is interesting to relate that to rugby? It's really interesting how every dude in New Zealand, and probably women as well, think they know what the All Blacks coach should be doing, or what the Hurricanes coach should be, what the coach should be doing, rather than like people who are experts, have spent their life perfecting the game, and somehow me sitting on the couch knows what they should be doing.
Yeah, you get it so much.
Yeah. And unfortunately, rugby players aren't held in the same esteem as a MIT scientist. Yeah. But still, you are like in your chosen field. That's what you guys are, and people still think, oh, they obviously should have spread it earlier. Like it's not that easy. Do you find that is that quite weird? Like, you knowing the game now, do you get annoyed by like the average punters on social media and stuff?
Oh mate, you just sort of find it more funny than anything. Everyone does have an opinion. Everyone's passionate about the game, so that's more it than anything else. But everyone has an opinion on who should be selected, and a lot of those things are guys who have the video highlights. So, I mean, I was always one of those guys who they never really wanted out there because I wasn't big, fast or strong, so I never had the video packages. Yeah. Or I didn't look like one of those players who was contributing to the side, but my strengths were all the things that you don't really see on TV, like the communication, the decision-making and that sort of stuff. So as a player, I always felt like I was copping it more than others because I didn't have that. The fans would want to see the guys, the bigger, stronger, faster guys who you'd see breaking the tackles. So I think that's definitely part of it as well.
But you become like a fan favourite because people see you and they see someone who almost looks like them. It's funny, Steph Curry is the most popular basketball player, partly because he looks like a normal person. He's not. He's like my height. He's like 6'4" or something like that. And he's the greatest shooter of all time. But compared to the other freaks on the court, he looks like a normal human being. He looks short. It's kind of interesting. And I mean, that's why you became a fan favorite. Same with Marty Banks as well. Like, you don't look like people who necessarily would traditionally be out there. So I think that's why people identify with you so much, But can I ask you about strategy then? Because you'd probably have definitely seen this game, assuming you're in New Zealand. Last year's ITM Cup final, Tasman Mako versus Auckland. Yes. Did you see that game?
Oh, yes.
So I went there. Tickets were free. It was crazy. It was so good. And supporting the Mako, obviously. And it just blew my... Obviously, great win for the Mako. Fins up to the boys. Unbelievable. Were you there actually at the game?
I was at the Waka 2, actually.
Oh, awesome.
With the non-23, the guys who didn't travel. We'd had a bit of a day of it. And
was that because of COVID? Why did the 23 not travel? That's gutting they couldn't be there for the final.
Nah, they just funds, really.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's a shame. Why don't you just hire a rental van and just drive up there for the night, man?
It was discussed because tickets were free too.
Didn't have to pay admission charge. So anyway, that game just blew my mind because I think Auckland was unbeaten to that point or pretty close, were they?
Yeah, they were favourites.
They were hot. No, not just favourites. So weren't they hot favourites? Okay, I'm just talking my ass now. But my point being is that I watched that game and Auckland had a crazy strategy, which was constantly kicking high balls for territory, I'm guessing, or to reclaim it. Yeah. They kicked all game, had no position as a result, or gave up a lot of position, and seemed to lose the game. And at halftime, I was like, oh man, Tasman's going well, but once Auckland starts holding on to the ball, and I know nothing about rugby, like I'm so far from an expert besides a casual fan, I couldn't figure out why Auckland at halftime didn't change their strategy to go through the hands and stop kicking away position.
Yeah.
And I was like, you as a rugby fan, did you understand what Auckland were doing, or you at the Wakatū going, what are they doing?
No, it's a real common part of rugby now. Like, you're seeing more and more of it. Even the World Cup was won by the team who kicked it the most. Like, teams are just getting so good on defence that when you kick it, you can put teams under pressure with your D and get penalties and get turnovers from that, and then be able to kick for the corner once you've got that penalty, and then really attack. Sort of save your energy as well by not playing too much in your half. So it's just the way the game's gone, and you hear it all the time. Like my nana's the worst. She used to hate when I'd kick the ball. Why are you always kicking the ball? Like, it's part of the plan.
Yeah. No, I don't mean that, but I mean, like, specifically in that final, did you not think at halftime, man, Auckland, the kicking game is backfiring because Tasman had a few line breakers or something like that, or like Tasman were turning the position. What are the 3 P's of rugby? Position, points. Is that what it is?
Oh, we'll go with that. I like that.
Nelson College, have you never heard that? The 3 P's of rugby?
Griggy.
Nah, not Griggy. The guy who, I can't remember the guy's name. He was not a teacher at the school, and he was just a coach to coach like the under-14 team or whatever. I love Nelson College. It was a great school. But this teacher, this coach, he told us position, points, the 3 P's of rugby, and then he told us that winning gives him a boner, and he got fired. And the poor bastard, because like looking back on it now, like he was doing an adult joke that was not good for kids, but you can see why he got fired. You know, like the head of Nelson College Rugby or whatever was like his son was on the team or whatever, so he got the guy was getting the march. He was like, "Stop talking about your boner, you weirdo around kids." But like it was like weird. He didn't know. Apparently, got reinstated a few years later or something like that. But yeah, he taught me winning gives him a boner and possession points. And that's about when I quit rugby. To be honest, that is about when I quit rugby, to be honest.
So how was your rugby career, by the way?
Not great. I played with Simon Mannering. I played a game with Simon Mannering. We used to play against Marlborough boys every year, and we were locks together.
Oh, yeah. He's just down the road in Mapua as well.
Wait, so Mapua. So you got Michael Coleman, Simon Mannering.
Yeah, and my brother, Tom.
Wow.
Crew.
Shit, that's amazing. The legend. He doesn't remember. I think we called him on the radio once and go, remember when you play with me? I mean, it was literally one game. Yeah. Simon Mannering, I think he left Nelson College quite early to go. He was in the Warriors development. He was big time. Yeah. But I don't know why this one game, especially because it was a joke game where we were way overpowered for them and we thrashed them. But a few of those players. I used to play basketball with Tim Bateman and Michael Coleman in the red team from Waimea. Yeah, a few players who went on to be professionals. In my basketball career, I got dunked on by Tom Abercrombie many times. He was what I should have been. Like he was me, but with athleticism as well. He was impressive. So I played rugby, like I was big for my age. Yeah. So and Nelson, weirdly, we didn't do it. I think in Auckland they do it by weight. But I mean, it's probably a racial thing really because people got sick of bigger developing Pacific Island boys beating up their white kids. So they racistly changed it. Whereas in Nelson, we were all white. So we're like, white power. I'm joking, by the way. I'm joking. So we did it by age. So as a result, I was big for my age. And Russell Packer, he actually got dispensated upgrades because he was so powerful even at a young age. His brother was on my team, and Maris, we were bad, but we got Russell Packer, league player.
Was he Nelson?
For a few years. He played for my team for a couple of years.
He just retired this week.
He was literally dispensated up 2 years. My dad coached him. He went to jail. I was like, Dad, bad coaching, man, bad. I don't know why Russell went to jail, but he's turned it around, I think. He's doing well now, I think. But shout out to Russell if you're out there. Let's catch up sometime, reminisce about under 13 Maris losing games by 60 points. But so I played to an average level. I made the rep teams because I was big and my dad helped coach. Yeah. I think that's only why. And I was fine. But then I switched to basketball literally because in rugby, my only job really was kind of line out specialist and run it straight, hit the deck, place it back kind of thing. Yeah. And I was fine at that. But basketball, I was shooting, I was scoring. It was just so much, you get the ball more. It was just so much more enjoyable. So that's kind of why it was a no-brainer.
And you were a bit of a wizard at basketball too, weren't you? You were pretty damn good.
It's funny because what's the saying? The older I get, the better I was. People, because I'm a comedian, people remember it for me because they like it as a story and like articles. They're like, he was an awesome basketball player. I wasn't really. Like, I was okay. I played for my high school, which was good. Nelson College, we were good. And then
lots of years though, wasn't it?
Many years, and then I tried to make it to the next level. I played for the Saints for 2 years. I was like a development player and got on the court a couple of times, went on a couple of road trips and just wasn't up to it. As I said, like the standard was so high. Like even the best players from my school never really, the same school as you. The best players never even really made it. Like Jeremiah Truman made the Tall Blacks, I think, and Hugh Quinlivan maybe played a bit of NBL, but like even the players that I looked up to who were like amazing, is like the standard to be a pro, and that's why you should be so stoked, man. Like it's so high. The average punter doesn't realize that. I'm lucky that I got to try, and I realized that the level above, like I'm tall, I'm big, I can shoot, I was fit, but the next level is athleticism and speed. Yeah. And when you don't have that, you've got to be really onto it. And I just wasn't quite up to it. But I'm glad I gave it my best hoon,
So why is New Zealand basketball so far off, like, NBA level?
Well, is it? It's like getting there. Well, we're a tiny country. America has 400 million people. We have 3.
It's a good start.
And the NBA is like the best in the world. Like it's not just the best Americans. It's the best from Europe as well. But it's more comparing us to Australia. And again, they're 5 times bigger than us. It's more why is New Zealand rugby so good is more interesting than why is basketball so bad. Basketball's about where it should be. And when you consider we've got a player in the NBA, we've had multiple people like have 10-day contracts in the NBA. New Zealand, the GM of the Brooklyn Nets is a Kiwi, Sean Marks. Do you know that?
Yeah.
Blows your mind.
Yeah.
Because some Kiwis were the videographers. New Zealanders, man, we're so not, as I said, how America, like Japan, is so strict and like security is so tight. The Kiwi videographers were like, come to the Brooklyn Nets facility, man. And I go in there and it's like the most beautiful basketball training facility you've ever seen. You've got a hair salon in their training facility and stuff. Wow. Their basketball courts overlook the New York skyline from Brooklyn. Yeah. And Sean Marks is just there riding the unicycle. The unicycle? He's riding a unicycle around the court like a clown. He's juggling, riding the exercycle. And I like met Sean Marks, and it was like growing up, I idolized him. And like when he played for the Tall Blacks, I've explained what the Tall Blacks are now, so I don't need any more explanation. I was like, I just like gushed over him. I was just like, I say whenever I meet Stephen Adams, I'm like, the whole of New Zealand's proud of you, bro. And he's like, can you chill out, man? Just be cool for a second. I'm like, so proud of you, man. It's a weird thing in New Zealand. We're like revenant. It's like whenever I've met Richie McCaw, I'm like, Sir Richie, nice to meet you, sir. I'm just like, I don't know why I'm like that. But, when you got one chance to meet someone, it's better than like being nonchalant and like going like, oh, good to meet you, whatever. I'm glad that I told Sean Marks I thought he was awesome. And I'm glad I told Stephen Adams. Stephen Adams, just after the 3rd time, he's like, you've just got to chill a little bit, man, and pull your shit together. But New Zealand basketball's actually all right. Yeah. I thought my year was going to be the year, and they've done pretty well. Like Tom Abercrombie, Corey Webster were the 2 that they used to kick my ass every year at high school nationals. Yeah. They won multiple, with Americans and Australians on their team too, but the Breakers have dominated the Australian League. Like they won like 4 championships. Yeah. So, like, you're considering, like, look at the Warriors, like, how hard it is to win in Australia.
The Warriors.
Yeah. Sorry. Trigger word, Like, set off sorry to bring them up, man. But it's so hard to be a competitive sports team in Australia. And I think New Zealand basketball overall, with no funding, is, like, doing all right. And it's, like, constantly like on the up. There's a lot of good players, man.
I take back my comment completely. You've sold it well. New Zealand basketball is strong.
Honestly, you look at the funding, they get like $100,000 a year or something for like the whole budget. And they got like, it's one of the most played sports by young people. It's like, it's growing, man. Mainly because parents just like don't want their kids to get concussed. Yeah. And what was the other one? It's indoors. Like, like people like rugby, it's so unappealing on a cold morning in the South Island as opposed to going to a heated gym on like a Wednesday night. It's like so much nicer. One of my favorite Instagram posts was you. You took a photo of the Will Smith film Concussion or whatever, and your caption was like, not the best movie to watch before a big game. Did you, did you literally see it before a game?
Literally saw it before a game. And the guy I watched it with, James Broadhurst, had to retire due to concussion.
Good on him for doing that, though.
Yeah. Well, he had to. He had no other option.
Oh, wow.
He was pretty fucked.
But how many concussions has he had? Or like too many counts?
It was 2 in the same game, which back to back and just really rocked him. So
wow, how old is he?
He just made his debut for the All Blacks maybe 2 weeks earlier, got released, came back to play for Taranaki, and it was that game. So he would have been about, let me guess, around 26, 27. So
man, that is tragic. But I think, like, I mean, he can probably see this as well. Like, it's probably saved his life, right?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Huge, and it's so big. It's such a big, like, it's the knock-on effects of too many concussions. My brother only played rugby till he was like 12 or 13, and
Mate, I coached him. He was a bloody good player.
You coached him?
Genuinely, he was our 10.
Wow!
What was it? Third form, year 9.
Yeah. Oh, he didn't even tell me that. That's hilarious. Okay.
He probably doesn't remember.
He was a good tackler.
Yeah, he was solid. Yeah.
Good runner, and he but he had a lot of concussions like early on. And I remember when you're a kid, he would be like 7 years old, he'd knock himself out tackling, he'd go off to the side, like, dry vomit, and then go back out there.
Yeah.
And it was like, we just had no idea the damage. Like, did you have many concussions in your career? Like,
I had a few, but I was always tried to be pretty sensible around. I'd never go back on if I felt like I wasn't right. So
yeah, but it's quite. So your friend, were you watching that movie before he had to retire, or after, or after?
I think it was before. So,
wow,
yeah, maybe that.
That was the movie that pushed me over. No, but seriously, I heard a story about this might be totally inappropriate. I don't know. I should really Google my facts before I just spout them on a podcast. But no, it's the craziest and one of the saddest stories is a retired American football player who shot himself. He took his own life tragically through his own chest because he wanted his brain to be studied for CTE study. Like, that was he in his mind had decided that this had affected him so badly that and it like leads to so like literally cuts years off your life and stuff like that. And it's such a serious thing. And it's interesting in New Zealand. I feel like we haven't talked about it quite enough. Yeah. Like in America, it was a huge scandal. The NFL is such a big business; they've just kind of rolled, made a few rules and rolled on. Yeah. But like, it is going to become a bigger and bigger thing. And I mean, every couple of years, someone racks up the talkback callers or whatever by saying, should we have, touch rugby up into a certain age? But like, when you look at the facts, it probably makes sense, especially because kids rugby, what are they learning? Tackling the shit out of each other when they're 7 years. I can't remember when I started tackling, but I think it was like 8 years old or something. It's like the game's just a mess there. It's just a ball and you're all just pushing and no one knows how to play. There's no spread out or like there's no back line. Yeah. So like you're playing scrag there anyway. It probably makes more sense to have like more of a touch game and actually learn the fundamentals of passing both ways. Yeah. And
I think they've gone that ripper tag up a little bit higher now, which makes more sense. You're still trying to rip around the hip, so it's a little bit more like a tackle. So,
and I understand why people are angry, and it's kind of crazy because like the world really is going the other way with MMA, where people just like embrace it, get the money and go. But like, it's one of those things that just fascinates me. It's so interesting. What questions do you hate as a rugby player? Like, what questions do you hate getting? Because like rugby players are famous for bad answers, but we ask dumb questions.
All those ones where you pretty much have to cliche it. Like,
like you can't. There's no other way to go about it. And if you don't do that, it'll be bulletin board material for the other team.
Especially if a team that you play are pretty shit, and they say, "Oh, what do you think of their performance?" You're like, "Oh yeah, they did well." I thought they were a lot tougher than the scoreboard suggested. And you can't say, "Oh yeah, they were fucking useless."
Yeah. If you did one day though, you'd go onto YouTube and be a legend forever though. It would be worth it. It'd be worth it. So yeah, the question you always get is, how'd you get into comedy? And there's a very easy answer to that. And the answer is, I'm a privileged white male who grew up quite well off, and I looked at all the jobs in the world, and my dream was to be a professional athlete, and I wasn't good enough. And then I wanted to be a professional movie star or a musician, but I can't sing, and I am not good looking at all. So the next thing you fall down to is comedy, man. It's like the ugly person's way into the entertainment industry, and it's the dream job. Like, I was like, why? I mean, a lot of people are terrified of the idea of like doing comedy in front of an audience. Yeah. So you got to get that confidence up. But like, even just like any sort of comedy for a living, even if you edited it or like wrote jokes behind the scenes, it's quite a great job to have. It's like being an ice cream tester or a professional surfer. And so I just like got into it as a hobby and have just loved it and been so lucky ever since. Like, my life has been so easy. Like, no one's had more privilege than me. Like, I literally came out of high school, went to uni, started doing comedy, and I got a job. I had a few weird jobs in between, but like, I literally, a month out of graduating, after spending 2 extra years at university doing a 3-year degree, I got a job as a professional comedian, basically, not paying much, but still, like, I just like absolutely am the jammiest bugger you've ever seen, because I'm not even particularly talented or anything like that. Just the confidence of a mediocre white man. This guy right here.
Did you know you were funny though? Like,
never funny. Nah, not really. I just knew I liked comedy. I think everyone, 2 things. I think whenever you see, because people see me and go, "Oh, I'm funnier than him," do comedy then. Get into it. Like it's like there's so many other things. Like even in rugby, you need to be discovered. Like you need to go to a school and you need to chant. You need to get seen by the right people. There's opportunities. Even like raw talent probably will get you discovered, but it's not. Nothing's a meritocracy. But comedy is like the bar is so low. You literally just go to a bar, turn up, and start doing jokes on stage and see how you go.
Yeah.
Like there's so few rules to it, and I think everyone. There's never been an oversupply of comedy. Like if you want to get into the industry, try and get into it, and it's like. In New Zealand, there's been almost more jobs than, I mean, I sound like an arrogant asshole now. For me, anyway, there's been more jobs than I've been able to hold on to. But I mean, that's not been the case. I've been luckier than most.
Yeah.
But it's just, you literally just sign up for a open mic at any comedy club. I weirdly, I thought I was getting asked out on a date. A girl who was my friend asked me to go to a comedy show with her. And I thought she was asking me on a date. So I was like, great. Kind of, didn't try too hard. I'm a New Zealander. Don't want to look like I care about anything in the world. But I had a shower and dressed myself up a little bit, and got there, and there was like 5 other people there. Turns out we were like rent-a-crowd for her brother's stand-up gig.
Oh, sure.
But that night, so I was a little bit crestfallen. My plan was to bring flowers, and thank God I did the Kiwi bloke thing of like, nah, don't get flowers. Thank God I didn't, because that would have been awkward as hell. But I got to the gig and literally. Had the best night of my life. Yeah. Like it was terrible.
Yeah.
Worst comedians. I don't want to name the comedians now, but like none of the comedians were like people who were successful then or successful now. Yeah. None of them are like reputable names or anything like that. But the magic just happened. Which happens in comedy. Everyone just caught fire, and one guy did a bit that was called "Giving Birth to the Wall," and. It just when you're laughing and you don't know why you're laughing, I just laughed so hard it hurt my ribs. I had the best night of my life, even though my date had fallen over. Maybe it was because I went from a big low to a big high, and I just went every week after that. Just became a super comedy nerd and just really got involved and eventually got on stage.
What inspired you to get on the stage?
Literally, I was thinking I can do better than them.
Yeah.
And then I started doing it and I was like, I can't. It's hard. But like with time, I practiced. And it was in Wellington, I was so lucky because Flutter Concords were literally on HBO at the time. Like, so it seemed like it was, because the Flutter Concords were from the same club, Wellington Comedy Club.
Yeah.
So I was like, shivers, like, man, in 2 years I'll be in America. Yeah. And I haven't made it, obviously. But, it's still like, comedy's been good to me. And it is like the opportunities are there if you can like commit to it and you get involved, because it's comedy's, I don't know what I'm saying here. Comedy is good.
But it is big in your family as well, because your brother Paul's a comedian / singer.
Yeah.
Your sister's a comedian. Your dad's a funny man.
Yeah.
Potential comedian.
My dad's accidental comedian. I think every dad is, though. My theory is with comedy is that everyone is funny.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, you go like, were you funny? Well, intentionally, like, was it the class clown? Not really. I mean, especially at Nelson College, there's some funny dudes there. Intentionally and unintentionally, there's a guy who would like jump off the roof for $1. Like that was quite funny, but like probably not like going to be like a sustainable career. I don't know.
YouTube legend.
Yeah, YouTube legend. But everyone's funny if you like. We're all weird.
Yeah.
Like everyone's weird when you like get into their life and like see what's going on behind closed doors.
Yeah.
We're all a bit weird and we pretend to be normal.
Yeah.
And so it's comedy in my mind is just about finding that and channeling that. And everyone has a unique view on the world. And if you just sometimes are just going for a walk and you just listen to what your thoughts are, if you just write those down on your phone, that can be the start of a joke.
Yeah.
And it's not even saying you want to be funny. Like some of the best jokes I've ever written are things that I was genuinely angry that there was a countdown next to another countdown in Napier. And I just kept on talking to people, and people were like, stop talking about the 2 countdowns, no one cares. And I made a story about it. It was one of my most successful stories in New Zealand Today season 1. And it was just like, that wasn't even a joke. I was just like, I want to find out, this is annoying me so, why are they so close together? And that's comedy, man. It's just like, I always wish everyone, if they want to give it a go, has the opportunity to give it a go. And I'm making it sound easier than it is. It's not quite a meritocracy. You need the ability, and this is how my family became comedians. I mean, you need a safety net.
Yeah.
And we were lucky that like my dad and mum have, provided for us well to the point where we were able to like bum around. As I said, I spent 5 years at uni doing a 3-year political science degree, I was a bum for quite a few years. Yeah. And then even then I was able to I got a job in comedy straight away, but it was paying like less than minimum wage for the hours I was working and stuff. And I was able to do that because I always had my parents to fall back on. And I think that's a big part of it. And that is there's a really interesting thing about like most of the people in comedy now are like, comedy used to be this real indie thing where it'd be like Richard Pryor was like born in a brothel, or Billy Connolly is probably from the tough, I don't actually know, I just made that up. But I assume had like quite a tough upbringing in Scotland.
Yeah.
And then you see like comedians now are all just like rich kids whose dad was a TV producer or something like that. You know, like that is the sad reality where it should be a meritocracy, but still, you know, kind of like just having a comfortable upbringing is a factor, you know?
Who is your favourite comedian?
My favourite comedian, I love, that's a good question. Well, it's not a good question, I'm just stalling for time. I got thousands of favourites. Mitch Hedberg, Maria Bamford, Stuart Lee in the UK, a political comedian.
Yeah.
I love Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
He's gone a little bit off the deep end. I don't know why he always has to have a go at trans people for no reason. He's got a bit weird. A couple of Dave Chappelle's takes now, I just don't kind of agree with his views. His takes on domestic violence are like awful. Like, he has some jokes which are like, yeah, the audience is laughing, and I've always thought the only rule in comedy is if it's funny. But then you're like, if you're using your platform, you're like one of the biggest comedians in the world just to be an asshole to women. You know, like, why are you doing that? Why are you hating on trans people for no reason? And so I must say I love Chappelle and I worship him. But you know, his recent specials, he's let me down a little bit. You know, he's still hilarious, but but Chappelle, Chris Rock, Jerry Seinfeld. There's not many people I don't like, but if you're my favourites, you probably wouldn't know a lot of them. Heard of Mitch Hedberg? Check him out. Dimitri Martin, check him out. Oh. They're good one-liner comedians. You'll see them on YouTube. They're good value.
Good stuff.
What do you like in comedy? What are you into? Interested in rugby players. They're into like Instagrammers and stuff now, eh?
That's a good question. A couple of my favourites, Ricky Gervais.
Yeah. Legend.
Michael McIntyre.
Yeah. Michael McIntyre's funny. He's all right. Sorry. Gervais. No. I'm an asshole. I don't mind Michael McIntyre. He just had a bad reputation because anyone who gets big, you get haters for no reason.
Yeah.
You know, like you realise that. It's like
Sonny Bill.
like Sonny Bill. Like Michael Jordan was another one. Like, I used to always root for the Utah Jazz because I was sick of Jordan winning. And I was like, looking back on it now, I was so lucky. And LeBron, I've always hated LeBron James. It's like, why? I'm blessed to live through Michael Jordan and LeBron James. Like, I should be kissing his ass like I kissed Steven Adams' ass. But Gervais has gone off the deep end a bit though, hasn't he?
Yeah, well,
why are you always having to got fat people? Like, move on. Also, you're not that thin yourself, mate. I guess that's why he thinks he can make the joke.
Yeah.
But I wish Gervais would just like pull his head in a little bit. The Office is legendary though, and he has some good jokes.
Yeah.
He has some great jokes. I love Nelson Mandela. 20 years in prison, hasn't reoffended. What does that prove? The prison system works. I'm sorry, I couldn't even get that joke out, but that is a good joke. Watch Gervais do it because he's better at it than me. Yeah, and the Ricky Gervais podcast is gold. I grew up loving Gervais as well. Sorry. I asked you your opinion, and you started saying it, and I started shitting on it.
Screwed me.
Yeah, sorry, man.
Fair, I'm not as deep into the.
Nah, do you watch much comedy, or do you watch sitcoms? White Lotus.
I used to watch a fair bit. I haven't had much time to watch.
Too many kids and stuff.
Too many kids.
What do you watch? What do you watch on TV?
Like, honestly, at the moment, I hardly watch TV. That's it. I've recently been watching a little bit of New Zealand Today.
Oh, cheers, man.
One of the great shows.
Oh, appreciate it, man.
No, but when I am watching TV at the moment, it's rugby or sport pretty much, and that's only after. Like, don't watch any TV during the day, or at most nights I'm editing podcasts.
Do you think there's too much?
Podcasts.
Do you think there's too much sport now?
To keep people interested?
No. Like, I mean, like, my life is all sport. So, for example, we went Premier League football into Champions League finals, into NBA playoffs, into European championships, into the Olympics, into the NBA finals. Yeah. Like, I've just been watching sports for like 2 months straight. It's like I've gone insane. Yeah. Do you watch sport other than rugby, or you just watch rugby?
No, I watch all the other sports.
And it's mental, right?
Yeah, so. But I mean, if you're not watching sport, what else are you watching other than New Zealand Today?
No, but like, do you think we're wasting our lives though?
On sport or mate, I think we waste our lives in general. Like, if it's not sport, it's gaming, or it's what else are you doing? You're on your social media.
We're going to get to that point when we're like 50 years old and we're like, what is life?
Yeah.
And then you fall apart, then you lose your mind. Yeah. Because
you do need some time to be not doing something or just relaxing or chilling out and whatever.
Yeah, but I'm a comedian. That's all I do. I'm like a hedonist. Like, all I do is just chase pleasure all the time. And it's like, that's no way to live your life. You need some discipline or some hardship or some structure, you know? Yeah. And it's like, what am I doing? Like, what is... I watched a few YouTube videos. Here we go. And the earth is flat. Now, I watched a few YouTube videos about like the purpose of life, and it's help others. And I'm like, fuck that. Not no, I want to help others, but I haven't. I'm still helping myself at the moment. Still selfish.
Hey, mate. One thing I do want to talk about is your interview, your TV interview as a whaler.
Yes,
that was
my first TV appearance, I think.
Yeah. So, how did you get into that?
Well, you got to explain. I don't want to tell you how to do your job, but people won't know what you're talking about.
I don't really know what the situation was, but you were on the breakfast morning show. You came on as you were
a whaling lobbyist trying to encourage whale farming in New Zealand.
That's why I didn't have a crack at it, because I wouldn't have got that.
Yeah. So what happened was we had a segment. I was on. I started, as I said, like first year. I just worked behind the scenes on Jono's show, and the second year they were like, "Hey, guy, you can have more responsibility because you're not a complete idiot." And so they put me in charge of the segment where it was just like basically just trying to get Jono on TV.
Yeah.
But this is kind of evil from me. I just tried to get myself on TV. The idea was just try and get on. So I was behind the scenes. I was like the production person trying to help Jono. Like, for example, we would do like weird auctions on Trade Me, hoping that the news would talk about, not the news, but like breakfast television would talk about it.
Yeah.
So, for example, people don't believe it was real, but like I went on Trade Me and listed a Harry Potter invisible cape.
Yeah.
Like the typo being that it's just nothing. And like they'd talk about that on breakfast, and I'd be like, would laugh about it back in the studio or whatever. And then so we decided. I was like, do you know what my dream is? My dream is to get on breakfast TV and do an interview.
Yeah.
And the idea was to get Jono on in like makeup, but then we couldn't afford the makeup, so we're like, Guy can just do it instead. And basically my concept was, I was like, anyone who does, it's the way the news media works, and I think there's a lot of good journalists out there. I hate when people go, oh, journalists are all effed or something like that, because they're not all effed.
Yeah. But
like, because of 24-hour TV news and clickbait and stuff, they do gravitate towards shit stories, like they'll just see trash and just put it up. One person will have a crazy opinion and they'll just put it up and act like it's everyone's opinion. It's not. Yeah. And so what I did is I just start weird petitions, and I did a couple, but the one I knew would hit is whaling in Japan was a big idea at the time. And so I was like, why don't we bring whaling to New Zealand? Because we can make the meat, and because we've got a lot of whales here, and we can send it to Japan, and it'll be a huge export for the country, right? And because I spent 5 years at university bumming around, I met a lot of like libertarian, like right wing sounds weird now. It makes it sound not racist people, just people who are like the free market will determine everything. Those guys, no taxes kind of guys. Yeah. And I spoke to some of them, and they would just think any problem could be solved by business.
Yeah.
So like, we're running out of whales. We'll just start a whale farm, and then you can just farm the whales, and you have unlimited whales. We don't have a shortage of chickens while we have a shortage of whales. And of course, you can't farm whales. But I decided to start a website. It's 2 days. Start a website called Commercial Whaling New Zealand. Put the website up. 2 days later, the Sunday News called me. Not a very reputable newspaper. Yeah. I did an interview on the phone, changed my voice a little bit. They then put that in the paper, and then this is how the cycle happens. And then the breakfast TV saw that, and then just asked me for an interview. I got picked up in like a corporate cab, driven to the news studios. I talked to the Prime Minister, who was in the green room. This is New Zealand. Hey, Prime Minister, how you going, mate? And I was still in character though, so I had to talk. It was John Key at the time. I had to talk to him about whaling. Yeah. I've never been a John Key fan. I'm really opposed to his politics, but he was so good, man. Because I'm a nutter. I'm coming up to him and going, "Hey, man, we need to get whaling off the ground in New Zealand." And he handled me so well. I was very impressed at how well he was like, "Well, we need to look at that. We need to grow business." He had like such a diplomatic answer. I was impressed how he dealt with me. And then I just like walked into the studio, and it was the craziest thing because there wasn't even many people in there. There was like no cameras. There was like no cameramen. I think they had like robot cameras.
Oh yeah.
So just me and Paul Henry in this like black room talking about whale farming. And it was just like, I was just there. I was pissing myself just thinking any moment he's going to go, "You're a liar. Why'd you make this up? This is not funny." But no, I just did the whole interview just talking about whale farms. It was insane. And I made a cap, and I gave him some of my merchandise and stuff like that. And then I left it, and nothing happened. It was the weirdest. It just shows the standard of like television. Like no one checked me, background checked me. Paul Henry couldn't see through it at all, And then I thought I'd failed. And then the next day, like eventually, someone was like, "Hey, that's not a pro whaling activist. That's a guy I saw on stage doing stand up a few weeks ago." what's he doing there? And then it was like front page news. It was like a big deal, yeah, because Paul Henry was a big deal at the time, and like, it was. He said he didn't get tricked. He did the whole interview talking to me about whale farming like it was a real thing. It was so stupid. And that literally started my career, so I was stoked with that.
And how did you feel in that interview? It must have been awkward as.
Yeah. Well, I was just sure he was just going to, you know how you just like, you idolize people and you think, oh, Paul Henry's so smart. And of course, he's just a normal dude. He was like a bit of an idiot, really, and just couldn't, for some reason, couldn't bum me out or catch me out at all. Like, even just basic questions like, how are you going to know which whale is yours? You know, you're like, oh, you killed my whale. Like, are you going to tag a whale? How are you going to catch your whale? Like, there's so many elements to whale farming. Whales like move huge around the ocean. Like, what, you're going to build a cage for them? Like, what is the logic here? And like, I don't know, maybe put them in Lake Taupo, have a freshwater lake whale. I don't know. I'm back on the idea now. I'm like, let's get this happening. It's a good idea.
New Zealand today.
Yeah, launch a whale farm. Yeah.
Oh, mate, how good.
Yeah.
And another thing that you spoke about at the start of the podcast was your interview with the mob.
Yeah, Mongrel Mob.
One of the great interviews of all time.
Yeah.
Talk about being intimidated or awkward in that whaling interview, but how were you feeling in that interview with the mob?
Sorry, man, you're trying to wrap this up, and I've got so much to talk about, and I can't do a short-winded answer. I mean, the short answer is...
No, I'm not trying to wrap it up. Go.
Oh, I'm trying to wrap us up then. Okay. The first thing I want to say is that the short answer is awkward. How? Second thing is I've got a lot of flack for that interview for multiple reasons. One is that like glamorizing or normalizing the Mongrel Mob, like you know, like a gang in New Zealand, and two is that one of the people behind that group was accused of a very serious crime. I don't know. I hope that's going to the police. I'm not sure what's going on there.
Yeah.
But basically, what the story is we background checked. The Mongrel Mob was running a healthy eating Facebook page, which is already funny because if the Mongrel Mob want to help the community, that doesn't seem like the most obvious way they could help the community. There's probably some other activities they could stop doing that would probably be better than running a healthy eating Facebook page. But the logic was actually good. Like it's like New Zealanders need to eat healthier and eat less takeaways, so it all makes sense. So I was like, this is hilarious. What are we going to do? So we background checked one guy, obviously not all of them. We found this guy, Coe the Rogue, who was a real character. And we found out, like, we looked at his like criminal record and stuff like that, and we're like, he's got very serious assault charges against him. He's been in jail for 10 years. He chopped another gang member's finger off in a brawl. He had a machete. It's crazy. But anyway, we're like, we're gonna go and interview him. And the reason I wanted to do it for many reasons. One is that I knew it would be very successful because New Zealand is like fascinated by the mob, and why shouldn't we be? But also because I grew up in Nelson where we didn't really have gangs. Like there was a motorcycle gang pad down by the park near kind of where Burger King where Trafalgar Centre used to be, behind the warehouse kind of thing.
Park?
Yeah. There was a gang pad there, but that was like a motorbike gang they're kind of more like a cosplay of a gang than a real gang, I think. I remember they raided them once and they had a few rusty old like rocket launchers or something like they were like almost like a joke gang than a real gang. But like when I moved to the North Island, I quickly understood that gangs are big in New Zealand. Like, you go to the luge in Rotorua. I love the luge. I luge 24/7. But there'd be like the gang members just having a birthday party there, full like red everywhere and stuff like that, and it just blew my mind. And with New Zealand Today, I'd run into it all the time. We interviewed Black Power members in a story about blackface. Again, some of the funniest guys I've interviewed as well. And what I realized is that gangs are everywhere in New Zealand, and they're part of society in a major way. And I feel like we don't talk about it in the right way because everyone's like, we'll be tough on gangs. Totally right. Totally, we've got to be tough on gangs. We've got to stop any organization that's acting in a criminal way or like affecting society negatively. But what's really interesting is how we talk about gangs and stuff, how we treat them is messed up. Because first of all, we kind of like use it to like racially discriminate against people of color. But also, most importantly, the way we're tough on gangs, I think probably breeds gangs. Like one of the discussions we had with the gang members, we had two things that really struck out for me. One was that going to jail almost makes you more of a gang member, like almost like recruit a gang. Like he was like, I was kind of like involved, and I got really involved when I went to jail for the first time because I wanted to be for security in jail and for the privileges that provides you. Yeah. So that blew my mind. And the second thing was I asked if because they had young kids as well. And the kids were 2 years old, and they're doing gang signs and saying "Sig Heil," and it blew my mind. I just never in a million years experienced this. And I was like, "Do you want your kids to grow up and be in the gang?" And they were like, "No," and that just blew my mind. And I was like, "That's crazy." And I was like, "And they're like, they probably will be because of where we live there's not many other things to do. But I quickly realized, and I'm not condoning gangs or gang behavior or anything like that, but I quickly realized that, like, in my mind, and I need to do more research on it, we're not approaching gangs in the right way. And being tough on them, sure, you can put every gang member in jail. I think that will probably just help the gangs grow stronger. Like, I don't think the solutions are as obvious as people think they are. And what I also learned is that gangs, especially in places like Gisborne, are like everyone are interviewed, no matter what ethnicity they were, no matter where they were from or what neighborhood they lived in, had some sort of connection to a gang as well. And I got a friend, I was talking to a friend from a small town in the North Island the other day. He's like, yeah, some of my best friends are gang members, and it's weird because they're gang members and they're also dads and they're driving their kids to swimming and stuff like that. It's really so the whole thing. Anyway, it's I'm out of my depth, but I want to talk about gangs more in New Zealand, and I don't have the answers, and I'm not going to be the one to fix it. I'm far from it, but I was like, gangs, it's a lot more of a difficult situation than people think it is. And so when it annoys me when you see clickbait headlines, you know, that at the moment the government's giving money to gangs to fight meth, which seems counterintuitive because you assume gangs are providing the meth as well. Yeah. But a lot of these are ex-gang members who know how to effectively reach out to some people who have been in gangs. And so, like, experts have looked at that and gone, this is the best way to do it. And if an ex-gang member is trying to get other people off meth, I think that's a good thing, and like probably is the right, you know, like you've got to kind of got to trust the experts a little bit on this. Not always, but like you've got, and so yeah, sorry, you probably just want to laugh interview about the guy with swastika tattoos on his face. But yeah, it blows my mind, and I just want to talk about gangs more, basically.
Nah, that is good insight.
Yeah. So anyway, talking to the gang member was scary as fuck, and I thought I was going to die. We had a safe word, but it was fine. What I learned from him.
What do you mean you had a safe word?
We had a safe word.
What with him?
We had a word that, like, our production guy would text our bosses every so often to make sure we were okay. Like, you know, like he had to text every 10 minutes because we're shooting with him for hours. Yeah. Text every 10 minutes, umbrella or whatever. Yeah. It would look suspicious if they looked at our phones and they just saw umbrella text 500 times. You're like, well, that's clearly a safe word of some description. But we're texting, make sure we're okay. And I never felt. There's a few times I'm not used to gangs, so I just didn't know. But like, they just live in a normal community, and just everyone on the street is a gang member and stuff like that, and they all treat each other normally, and they all, So when a gang member would come across to say hi, like, and then they just walk through our interview and stuff, I would be like, this guy's going to come tell us off, you know? And I was like, so scared he's going to go, get the fuck out of here right now. I'm going to go, yes, sir, and get right in the van and run away. Yeah. But, so we're pissing myself the whole time, absolutely shitting myself. But Koei, the rogue, reminded me so much of myself. He was just like, we're basically the same age. We just come from completely different backgrounds.
So much of yourself.
Yeah. Honestly, honestly, we're the same age, we're the same sort of like idiot. Yeah. But just when I grew up and I left high school, I had every opportunity. Yeah. You know, I could have gone to any university I wanted. I could have traveled to any country I wanted. I could have done anything I wanted. And with him, it was the opposite. It was like so few options. It's not surprising that he joined, you know, like, you know, as a man, you want to feel like a provider and a tough guy. It's not surprising someone gets involved in a gang. Yeah. I've now learned more about it. I've read up on face tattoos, and I laughed a lot about swastika face tattoos are weird. Like, it's one of probably the highlights of my comedy career that I got the courage. I wanted to do this joke, which was he goes, every tattoo on I go, what's up with the swastika face tattoos? And he was like, every tattoo is from a different time in my life. And I said, what time was that? Was it World War II? And I'm so proud of that joke, but I was so scared because what happened is he went silent. He went silent, and he was like, and I'm like, I was quite a way away, so I could have run because I'm probably faster than him. But he goes, he just cracked up. I don't want to do it into the microphone, but he's just like, but it was like a scary laugh. Like, it was like not natural. It was like really intense. And I was like, okay, I'm going to get murdered now. And, but no, like, it was fine, and but I've since learned that I don't know, like I can't speak for Koei, but like people get face tattoos for a whole range of reasons, but just to be intimidating, you got to ask yourself, why does someone want to be that scary? Why does someone put swastikas on their face? And I developed a lot of sympathy for Koei, I do also. I really. Enjoyed a lot by him, and as I said, saw myself in him, and I hope he's going well now. And he's probably still in the gang, but I should reconnect with Koei because yeah, that was one of the most successful things I've ever done, and it was good. But yeah, I think most people who criticize me for doing that as well, I understand where they're coming from as well.
Yeah.
And it produced the greatest comedy song of all time, which is Married to the Mob. Very sexist song, but very funny song. And it's so poetic as well. Have you heard the song?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah. And it's like...
Get down on your knees. And...
Yeah. When you're married to the mob... It's a full-time job. Just the idea of a full-time job is so funny to me because it's like no part-time hours available.
Mate, you said you couldn't sing. You've got an amazing voice.
No, I can't sing properly. But Married to the Mob is like it sounds like a sea shanty or like a musical song. It's like quite a funny song. So I love that song, Married to the Mob. And I think he genuinely is like a really funny, interesting guy. It's just, a shame the path his life has gone down. But he's a musical talent and a real character. And that was one of the greatest interviews I've ever done.
Mate, good insight
and I survived.
into New Zealand gangs and
yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, read a book, do more research than me. I think someone Savage just released a good book about it.
Not the rapper.
No, not the rapper. No, not Savage the rapper. No, I think the guy's last name. The two good books about New Zealand gangs have just come out, and I've bought them and haven't read them yet. But gangs in New Zealand are fascinating, and they are something we need to fight. But I think the fight is probably. In my mind, it's just the way I see the world, mainly through economics. I think it's economic, and I'm like, if you look at where gangs thrive, it's normally like areas with depressed economic opportunity.
Yeah.
Like one of the reasons it doesn't thrive in Nelson, or partly because Nelson's a bunch of old people. It's going to be a very old... Growing up in Nelson, I thought grey power was a gang. I thought it was black power, white power, grey power is literally what I thought. And grey power, not a gang, it's an old folks association. I found it out. But Nelson had the biggest one in the country. So, yeah. But one of the reasons Nelson probably didn't have many gangs is because it's a rich area. Like, it's like, like we still have a lot of issues, and gangs probably became more of an issue. But, it's just not kind of as prevalent as it is in a poorer town in New Zealand. Yeah.
Mate, how good's that? Anyway...
How good's that is how Kiwi blokes just wrap up any conversation, eh? I feel you. You don't know how to wrap it up, so just go, how good, mate? Oh, well, let you get on with
it. Mate,
cheers, man.
As always, we've gone to our Instagram for some questions, and...
Oh, wow, okay.
This is what we do.
Thanks so much for having me on the pod, though. I'm stoked to be the first. I know you've had my boy James Malcolm. He's also, I went to school with him. Shout out to James. Alex. Damn it! My boy, my close personal friend. No, I do. I went to school with Alex and grew up with Alex. So I haven't seen him in 20 years, so forgive me. Yeah, far out.
I hope James is doing well.
But I'm stoked to be on the podcast.
Oh, mate, it's great to have you on. Okay, a lot of these we've covered already, obviously. We've gone through a fair bit. Oh, this is a good one.
Oh, how many insults? Did I get many insults on the Musical Dicks? Oh, that's good.
A lot of people. Greatest comedian in New Zealand.
Oh, yeah. You're just riffing these from your own world. Okay, hit me with the question.
Okay, first one. How scared were you when you asked David Tua about Sonny Bill Williams and his old lady?
Yeah, that was the most scared I've ever been. I did not learn. That was a white guy learning cultural differences. I didn't realise, because at Nelson College we said like your mum jokes quite a bit, right? Not like your mama, but like, like it was like... I effed your mum was quite a common gag, which, was it not? Don't hang me out to dry here. Anyway, in my circle of friends it was.
Big Nelson gag.
Yeah. No, it was a gag everywhere. Anyway, the point is, I didn't realise I think David Tua is Samoan. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think Samoan. In Samoan culture, your mum is sacred. It's like the one thing you don't make fun of, right? Yeah. Right? So I did not realise that. So he thought I was just trying to say your mum a joke, and he thought I was taking a disrespect. And my joke wasn't even that. My joke was trying to organise a fight with Sonny Bill. It was a joke because Sonny Bill was boxing at the time, and everyone wanted to see it was happening. So I tried to get it started like boxers do. Anyway... I honestly, I think that's the closest I've come to, it's a cliche. I didn't think it was real until then. I didn't think that, when people go, I almost pissed myself or I almost, shat my pants. I didn't think that was real until that time where I was like, actually, I basically was losing control of my bowels. And it wasn't even, it looks worse on TV because in real life, I was so far away from him as well. But I was like, I don't know how fast he is. He could charge to the cameras and just one punch, I would die. He would kill me and I'd be dead. And he was nice. After I apologized, he was nice to me and he did some more jokes and stuff like that. But That was my first. I had worse jokes than that as well, by the way.
Yeah.
That was my first one. I was going to get worse.
Oh, wow.
So I was I got my first one and then just left. I was like, that's today's work over. Thank you very much.
How hard was it to go apologise to him? That must have been tough as well.
Yeah, the guy, Stephen McIver, the boxing commentator, he brokered the deal.
Oh, yeah.
That's happened quite a few times. It was, few sports journalists have been really good to me, who's the other guy? Oh my God, I've forgotten his name. He's the best guy as well. The rugby guy. He also did the Olympics this year. He's moved to TVNZ. Scotty Stevenson. He launched my career when I first sung to Sonny Bill. I was at a press conference. I was so nervous.
Yeah.
He knew I had a novelty question or whatever, and he knew I was going to chicken out. And he literally gave me a nudge. Goes, go now. And he was the one. He launched it. So it's thanks to those guys for helping me out. So shout out to Scotty Stevenson. Absolutely, he's a great guy. I love that guy.
So you're still feeling incredibly uncomfortable before you've got to do something like that. You're not.
Yeah.
You're not naturally that confident to just.
Comfortable and the reason is it's changed. It's not. I don't really care about myself anymore. I've done so many humiliating things. I've been to rock bottom. You can't get any lower than as I said, bombing in front of 100 people at a stand-up gig. So what I do feel bad about is ruining other people's day or pissing people, and that happens in New Zealand today. Whether it be I offend an old man who's really religious or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't care. I kind of think he's full of crap. But at the same time, I don't want to ruin his day.
Yeah.
And I've done that a few times, and I feel bad about that. So it's the same. It's like when I'm singing to Sonny Bill, I want to do it. I want to get the joke, but I also don't want to ruin Sonny Bill's reputation in Japan. I don't want the Japanese people to think that he brought me over. He has nothing to do with me, stuff like that. So, it's more pissing off the other people than it is pissing off myself. And it's,
You got to be pretty careful with the comedic content, don't you?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, it's a common thing. I don't think you really do. People now are terrified of cancel culture and stuff like that, but I think I've got a pretty good idea of where the line is. And when people say don't do a joke, you can do any joke you want. It's just you are going to upset some people, so you just got to know, is it worth it? Something like that.
Risk versus reward.
Yeah. And now we've kind of learned, hey, it's not cool to joke about people's disabilities or something like that. You just learn things as you go on. You're like, okay, I'll stop doing that. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And I just see it as a challenge to find new ways to be offensive and shocking. There's other ways you can do it, man. Just you don't have to be a misogynist or a sexist anymore. There's other things you can do in the world. Branch out. There's plenty of exciting frontiers to explore.
Oh, I can't wait to get a female on. What a lad! I feel like I'm really.
You'll be breaking the glass ceiling, man. I'll be so proud of you when you do that after 100 episodes. Yeah.
Okay, we talked about your rugby career. Does Guy enjoy drum and bass?
No. How does New Zealand? Do you enjoy drum and bass?
It wouldn't be my choice of music. No.
In New Zealand. It's big, right?
Yeah, I guess.
I'm not into drugs. I assume you have to, if you're on drugs, the lights and the music, and you're just whoa.
That must be it, I think.
Yeah. No, I like pretty much every type of music, but I'd say drum and bass and trance and stuff. Mainly because I grew up in Nelson. I can't listen to a lot of those bands just because Munters would play it in Nelson growing up, so I kind of got put off that. But I'm mainly into, I'd say hip hop and pop is mainly what I'm into, but classic rock, I don't know. But yeah, definitely. No drum and bass, unfortunately. I go classical over drum and bass. I like classical.
Fair enough. Okay, shittest town in New Zealand and why Granity?
Granity's not shit. Granity is paradise on earth.
Is it? Yeah.
If you have a job that you can do from anywhere, go buy a house in Granity for 200 grand and just enjoy the rest of your life, get out of town if there's a hurricane or a flooding or anything like that because there's going to be happening a lot in the coming years. Shittest town in New Zealand... It's a tough one because I try and defend towns now. I did a story defending Huntly because people just shit on towns. It's generally just what you mean is just poor town. Yeah. But I've always hated Blenheim. Fins up to the Tas and Mako, but Blenheim, I hate Blenheim. It's just old people drinking wine. No fun there. And Oamaru, I always have beef with Oamaru. They can't pronounce their name. Learn pronounce the name of your shit town and then stop coming to my gigs so drunk that you can't even understand. Worst crowd I've ever had. I had this joke where I had a heckler brick, and the idea was that I was a brick, and if you're a heckler, I'll brick you with it. It was the joke. Yeah. It's got a heckler brick. And I had it on stage, and we had a laugh about it and stuff like that. After the show, someone stole my heckler brick. They stole a brick. Oh, Maru, what is wrong with you? They have a penguin colony where it costs $15 to see the penguins, but the penguins are just outside on the road for free. Wake up. It's the worst. It's the worst. Steampunk isn't a thing. Oamaru, shittest town in New Zealand. They're my rivals. Fuck you, Oamaru. Passionate, eh?
It is passionate. It wasn't Grenady, okay?
Yeah. This is the thing about Granity's beautiful. Go to Granity. West Coast and South Island is awesome.
Yeah.
Racist, sexist, homophobic, like a lot of places to improve, but West Coast New Zealand is a good time. Honestly, it's the best.
The best. Okay, next one. Did you actually lose your virginity in the St. Joseph's Church?
Yeah. No, I didn't.
Yarn.
I regret, it's not even a yarn, man. I regret even saying that, eh? I feel bad. I went to St. Joseph's Church. I was grown up Catholic. I'm not a really religious at all anymore. But it was just a bad joke, and I regret making it because I would have hurt the people who, it's one of those jokes going too far. All the nice people who raised me and stuff in the church and stuff, feeling bad. So I actually, I might have deleted that from the YouTube video. I don't even know.
Nah, it's still there.
Still there? Oh, fuck. I deleted when I asked my old piano teacher if he had sex with my mum. I felt bad, and I was like, my mum doesn't deserve that. He doesn't deserve that. No one wants to hear that. But I did feel bad about that. Sorry to say, I did not have sex. It was supposed to be a joke about again. See how it gets real? I get real serious, real fun. You must find that weird to me. You're like, it's jokey, serious. The world is a serious place, man. I just can't get over the Catholic Church child sex abuse. And I don't know if it was a problem in my community or if it was a problem in Nelson, but it's a problem in a lot of places in New Zealand and all around the world. And it's the church literally, one of the reasons people are like, how is Bill Cosby free? One of the reasons he's free is because the statute of limitations in Philadelphia is so strict that you can only prosecute like a sex crime for like 5 years, and then you can't charge it anymore. And one of the reasons for that being is because the Catholic Church, because they lobbied the government so hard because they're quite powerful, so you can't prosecute priests. And that has the knock-on effect that Bill Cosby can't be brought to justice because the Catholic Church and all their shit. So, I watch movies like Spotlight and stuff like that, and I go, I hope. And there was a lot of good people in the Catholic Church that I really liked, and the priest who, grew up with me at school and stuff was great, and I hope they were all, everyone was great. But, the Catholic Church freaks me out, man, and I learned so many great things in that church, but also, they need to do more. Yeah. Yes. Sorry, it's funny how I go serious like that.
Would you do a story on that?
No, it's too far for me at the moment where I'm at. Like as I said, I try and touch on issues, and like we've done like blackface and stuff like that, things. But sexual abuse is probably too many trigger warnings for people. It's kind of left to the experts, to be honest. Like as I said, commenting on experts and experts for sexual abuse and experts for gangs as well. It's probably not really my place to butt in there.
So who's the guy who does the He does go deep into that stuff. He did the Tickled documentary.
Yeah, David Farrier. Yeah, well, he's different. We're kind of like mirror opposites, where he is a journalist who kind of verges on comedy. Because he would go to like Armageddon. He's like a big like pop culture guy as well. He'd go to Armageddon and stuff like that. So he'd kind of take the piss. Yeah. So he's a journalist who verged into comedy, and I'm a comedian who verged into journalism. But we're not really the same, but we're a little bit similar, and we also look similar. Yeah. People often the other day in Napier, a guy was like, "Hey, I love that movie about the tickling man," and I was like, "Thanks, man. Come to my show." I taught this guy coming to my show. He thought I was the guy from the Tickle documentary. I was like, "Fuck yeah." Stephen Adams also came to my show. That same show, I think, in Napier again. Mate. I ran to Stephen Adams.
How good's that?
And it was bad, man, because it was like I did 2 shows that night because my first show sold out, so I was like, I'll do another show. The second show didn't sell out, so I was giving him tickets to like a shitty show in a small theater, and I felt bad. Like it wasn't that good a show. And afterwards, I spoke to him and I was like, hey, he was getting shed on the paper because he won't play for New Zealand. Yeah. And I was like, don't read about, they're talking about you in the paper, man. And this is after I'd said, hey, I love you, man. So proud of you again. I was like, don't listen to what they're saying about you in the papers. And he's like, what are they saying about me in the papers? And I was like, oh shit, you haven't seen it. Nothing but good things, man. Nothing but good things. They were ripping him. But again, I now support, if he got screwed over as a kid by Barcelona, New Zealand, I can understand why he'd be like, nah, stuff you now, he's a star, you know?
Didn't he also have to pay almost like millions to cover his contract or something ridiculous?
Yeah, I think insurance for any athlete who's on a big contract early on, but like he would have insurance now. Like all the Australian NBA players play for their country, so I think he probably could. I think he's got beef with Barcelona New Zealand, and I support him and I support Barcelona New Zealand. I hope they can sort it out one day so he could play a couple games for the Tall Blacks, it was Stephen Adams coming to my. It's just weird because I was like doing material like, isn't it hard to buy a house? And I just think Steve Adams there going, no, my contract is $20 million. Shit. That must be hard, eh? It must be hard everyone knowing that you're rich as well, though, eh? He must have so many dudes from Rotorua and shit going like, hey, can I borrow some money? Like all the time, man.
Do you get that?
I'm not rich. I'm not rich. No one knows how much I earn, but it's not great money. Like, no. And I'm come from Nelson. Everyone I grew up with is richer than me, like it's weird. Yeah.
Okay, next question. We'll move on. Okay, next question. How much do you love Karen?
Karen is an icon. Like, people don't realize, they think she's just like the angry lady from the 20 Wax video, but she is genuinely talented. I'm gonna do a podcast with her, maybe, I think, is the dream.
That would be good.
Because she has opinion on everything. She's very smart. She loves sport.
Yeah. Huge
sport fan. Probably a huge rugby fan as well. She mainly likes cricket, but Karen is like a savant. She's good at everything. A little bit like Coe the Rogue, where I'm like, I see this person and I go, this person's so similar to me, just had the complete opposite opportunities. Like Karen, out of school when she's 14, she went to, it's probably not my story to tell, but she went to jail for 3 tabs of acid when she was 17.
Wow.
That's crazy, right? Like, even now, there's no way in New Zealand 3 tabs of acid you go to jail. They'd probably try and help you out, if anything. And it's like, she went to jail for 3 tabs of acid. That's full noise adult prison as a child, basically. And her life has just been so crazy. And you realize that, like, my life has been so lucky in comparison. I'm like, man, there's no reason why she shouldn't be a comedian as well, because she one of the funniest people I've ever met, intentionally and unintentionally. Obviously, like that call, she wasn't planning on that being comedy, but we just did a live tour, and people worshipped her. The number of people who are like, hey, guy, we don't want a photo with you, just with Karen. Humiliating for me, but I understand as well. She's one of like the greatest comedians in New Zealand history, Karen. She's a legend.
Yeah. So you've got the New Zealand on New Zealand
Today. We did a tour, live
so
tour.
How does that work? You've got the guys who have all been on the show.
Yeah, just a couple. I had Josh and Isaac from Martin, 2 boys from the greatest city in the world, Martin. And I just did an interview with them. We did a rap. Karen gave someone 20 wax, did questions from the audience, just like a real casual, basically like a live podcast in a way. And I just realized then that Karen is like a savant, and I love her. And New Zealand loves her as well, because she gets shit done. A little bit sexist sometimes. She always refers to how ugly Paula Bennett is, and you're like, Karen, like, you can't. It's like, it's just you can't keep her on track. But she's. I love Karen. Yeah, she's the best.
Is that tour still going?
No, we stopped. I had a show in Wellington cancelled twice, and I was like, okay, we'll try again next year.
Yeah.
Because of COVID, I got sick one time, so I had to get a test, and the other time, because the lockdown happened. But still. Hopefully next year we'll go bigger and better and go to more small towns. Come to Nelson with. Not in New Zealand. Nelson's not a small town; it's a metropolis.
Mate, that would be good. That would sell out. Sure.
Come to Mapua, Come to the Playhouse. You got a theatre out here, Playhouse Theatre.
Guy Williams at the Playhouse.
Yeah, it's the dream.
That would be the dream.
Yeah,
you could get. Is it Nanga from across the?
Oh, Nanga, absolute legend, Nanga. People don't realise this with Nanga. A little bit behind the scenes from that. He cut his foot. We got a shot at the end where we were frolicking naked on a beach. Long story if you haven't seen the clip. But basically, we're riding the Rainbow Serpent, which is his penis. It makes sense, all right? And we rode the Rainbow Serpent to the 24th dimension, and we were in heaven. But for filming, we didn't actually go to heaven. We just were frolicking on the beach.
Yeah.
But we were at Golden Bay. It was the end of the day. We just had to go shoot the shot real quick, and I was like, can we get to that beach over there? And he's like, yeah, man, just wade through the water. So he said it was a good idea. He's the local. I didn't know.
Yeah.
The ground was like all shellfish. It was like knives like cutting our feet. And his foot got slashed open. And so when you see us frolicking naked on the beach for like 3 seconds, he did it with blood gushing out his feet. He's the toughest guy. I wouldn't be able to do it. I would have collapsed. And we got him back there. We got the ambulance. And he didn't, because he's like weird hippie guy. He didn't want to go to the doctor and get drugs and get stitched up and stuff like that. And he had his like mate come and give him UV rays and got some berries rubbed into it. And I was like, Golden Bay, wake up. But Nanga is, again, an absolute legend. And again, a lovely, like, he's nuts.
Yeah.
Well, not I shouldn't say nuts. He's eccentric.
Yeah.
But I genuinely also think he's a genius. You actually raise a good point. When I was there, I regret I didn't buy one of his works of art. He had like he does like UV.
The one with his penis out.
Yeah, I'm not doing the one with his penis out. I'm not going to put that in the lounge. Nah, it seems like so. Yeah, he had one with his penis out. I understand. He drew a picture of like Jesus going through to God, and he was in there, and he had his big dick. Anyway, that's not the point. The point is that outside of that room where he was doing UV like glow in the dark paintings, he just did normal paintings. He did landscapes and like portraits of like Indigenous Australian people and stuff. And he's actually like a genius. Like he's so good he does every type of art, and he's so good at all of it. And I want to buy a painting. And now I'm in the region. I actually owe it to him to go back there and buy something. Although last I heard, he was like protesting outside the hospital because they were having vaccines or modern medicine. I don't know what his problem was, but he's got some weird views. But shout out to Nanga, all love. I love you, man. And get the vaccine, please. God damn it, Nanga.
Okay, last question. This has been good, but one piece of advice you could give any person.
Life's a joke. Feel the vibes. Be nice to people. I'm not always nice to people, so I don't even live to that. Help others. That was it. The meaning of life, right? Help others. Help others. Yeah. I don't know if I got good advice. Should anyone be taking advice from me? I don't know.
Oh, I think you might. You're pretty deep. I mean, you've had some good advice throughout the podcast.
But this just could be interviewing a bunch of brain damaged rugby players, mate. Believe in yourself. Love others. Don't be a dick. Don't be racist, sexist, homophobic, or any other that bullshit. Love you.
Oh, mate. The best piece of advice we've had on.
Thanks for having me on the pod, man.
I really appreciate you coming on the podcast. It's been cool watching your journey as a young Nelson College lad, watching you go through the ranks, through all those successes I've said at the start of the podcast.
Back at you, bro. You're the first Nelson College boy I saw ever in Super Rugby, I think, as far as I know. So, yeah, it's awesome to follow you too. And, yeah, good to have a proper chat, man.
Mate, appreciate you coming out to the Mapua studio and coming on the podcast.
What a privilege. Love Mapua.
Mate, you're a lad. Thanks, mate.